they'd be super
It's
dead.
also just you do not want to get last pick Bat Rider. Let's say if they pick that Ember Spirit that I was talking about, even a Morphling in this situation, you just start to get run over, and you can't afford to lose 3 lanes in this game. And while I do think the top lane will go decently well with them or for them, with the Abaddon Luna, it feel like it's gonna be a struggle because as soon as that bot lane goes the way of Tomato, as soon as he's able to start running away with it, maybe once he gets that javelin, then ET leaves. He goes to another lane, and the Luna doesn't like fighting up against, 2, 3 heroes. You're just always going to be under a lot of pressure, and it's going to be up to KJ to take a lot of that away. At the same time, Undying, they have such fast heroes. You're really going to be able to make the quick rotations, kill these towers at a faster rate than SG Esports should be able to do. And DK Band's good. That's that all rounder that you want if you're SG. And I'm really struggling to figure out what they want to pick here. They need to pick a hero that gives them that secondary to stable. They can't get countered in lane, and you're laning versus Bryle of all people. It feels like an uphill battle.
It's one of those things where, Dragon Knight would have been an incredibly solid pick here because it gives them that tower siege that pairs well with the Luna, but
maybe the Lesh. Oh boy. Sitting up in my chair for this one. This is an SG classic.
Is it mid Mirana?
Mid-snap.
Or is it going to be the mid-snap? Okay. Because I was like, I know that they played
the mid-snap.
I know they played this, but it's one of those things where, like, is it even good here? That's the thing that I have to question. Like, can you even pick this mid-snap fire and like do well with it? And I think you just have an open game as a Storm Spirit for Bryle now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think they're going to go for. I was trying to think about what SG could pick. If they could greed out for that Storm Spirit and try to get away with it, but Storm would feel so good for Undying if they pick it. And even though the matchup is a little bit scary versus the Snapfire, just because you pretty consistently get cookied just because you're always in that wave, it's just so free if they want to go for it. And the Snapfire is strong. It's good versus ET. Once you get the Ags, that's that target you always punish.
Okay, Kunkka is pretty solid. I thought about this hero earlier for SG, but you don't have last pick. And there's no way you can pick Kunkka here and then just assume Undying's not going to hard punish you with like a Monkey King or something. So instead, it is going to be the 40R Snapfire. Bryle's going to go mid lane on the Kunkka. And I mean, the amount of control that he's going to bring to the table combined with the rest of his team. I mean, you've got X Torrent, you have the Sleep, you have the Boat, you've got Rubik, Beastmaster. I mean, there's a lot of hard disable here coming out from Undying. And yes, you have an Abaddon, but he can only really choose one hero to save at a time. So this will be an interesting one.
It's just so perfect with the X mark. It's the one spell you can't purge. It's the one spell that is always going to be an issue for that team, and it breaks the Snapfire combo. If anything, if you want to stand still, you want to get your cookies off, or even the kisses off, you're gonna get torrented. You're gonna get X marked, then that's a big problem. And this is a combo we usually see SA pull out. It's the Troll Kunkka where you put the rum on him, he pops his ultimate, and then he runs at you, and there's nothing you can do. You have to get out. And I feel like there are just too many core matchups that SG are losing in this game. They really need to snowball 40R and get something going for them, because I feel like Tavo, he's not going to be the playmaker. It's up to 40R. It's really just going to be 40R and Theola core to make this SG's game. Other than that, it's going to feel like an uphill battle, I think, right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We'll see how the mid lane Snapfire pays off. I mean, do you still do the classic build of like the Aghanim Scepter, or do you mostly build for auras now? Like the Guardian, I know the other options like Guardian Greaves, Force Staffs, like things like that to try and give you space. But I mean, the other option is you may have to go for like this Ag save to even get people out, of these big team fights. Like there's going to be so much damage coming in from Roar and stuff like that. So is 40R going to be like this sacrificial lamb of going like blank Ags?
Well, if anything, I think that's what might be happening is you're going to get your Ags at hopefully the same time Tavo's getting his Blink Dagger, and then you do have that secondary reach. You are able to find some of those deep dives, and that's the issue. If they ever mess up their jump, the punishment is always going to be there with the ET. You're going to jump in, you're going to get the call off, you're going to immediately be slept, stunned up if you're not too careful. And we'll see what they decide to do with lanes, but this is feeling rough. It feels like it's an Undying win almost from the draft, and it harkens back to just how well they were able to get the exact heroes they wanted in the draft with that slam troll pick. It's just that aggressive, almost EU style of drafting that it's really exciting to see. Just these players able to push these heroes to their limits.
Yeah, I mean, We're doing the classic stretch pause here. So for those of you who haven't stretched lately, remember, stand up, stretch it out, check your posture, hydrate if you haven't hydrated. That's what matters. But yeah, I'm with you all the way. I think Undying's draft, just on paper, so much easier to execute. It really is going to come down to them making some, I think, misplays in the lanes to really struggle here. And I mean, when you have Troll Warlord into Axe, you know you're basically just going to be free farming on this hero.
One is comfort, right? SG, they've run this before. Tavo, again, his Axe, one of his most played heroes. And it just goes into sort of the prep for this game. Undying and SG, they both knew how contested this Mars pick has been. And just getting it banned in the first phase, I think they've had to really dive deeper. And Undying, I feel like they just have got pulled out ahead in the draft. They were just able to obtain the heroes they wanted. They had to reach for this Abaddon Mirana opener to make sure it doesn't get countered because of how effective Dubu was in the previous game and how effective Abaddon as a whole has been in sort of the playoff phase of this tournament. And they just fear it. They fear the Abaddon.
Yeah, I think you absolutely need to. I mean, it's been pretty high impact. Exit lag, it says. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think overall, the Abaddon has just been a pretty solid pick. But this is one of those games where they will just be able to overwhelm him and pick, you know, a different, like, any number of heroes to go on.
And even though you pick the Beastmaster into the Abaddon, and we saw several times in that previous game where it's just necro units. They just are constantly running at you, constantly burning your mana. And almost in the second game yesterday, or rather the third game yesterday versus the Lycan, where if these supports aren't able to play Dota, if they just get Ghana, and if they're able to find that big jump, then I think SG have a shot. But they need to play these team fights so calculated. They need to always find these supports. They need to always get on the back line, and then maybe there's a shot. But everything needs to go so well for SG. It's almost an out skill lineup. Their lineup's just so difficult to execute that it feels like Undying have such an easier time in every single aspect of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. We're gonna see how these lanes play out. Right now, walking mid here, 40R Snapfire. We'll definitely make sure to keep our eyes on the mid lane here. The Luna in the bottom lane, like, this is not a bad lane for Luna into the Beastmaster. Jesus, enough chat lines going out.
Some powerful guilds on both sides, it would appear.
Yes, indeed. But
you see, he has the sentry on Costa Bila just to block these camps now.
Oh, he sees it right in Moon's face. And they're pinging. They're like, okay, there's probably a ward here.
Well, Dubu doesn't have a sentry, but still, this does not feel great. And is this maybe the anticipated tri lane? Because Costa Bila realized what might be happening to him. Because I feel like you want to be blocking the top lane camps. I don't think Theolacor does have an obs, but in fact, they're just going to creep cut right away. That's
yeah,
what this
I was like, do you see this ward? They're basically going to try and snipe the first phase of couriers and then creep cut so that they can't really apply pressure to the axe. Because once you run out of regen, you don't have you have no ability to pressure axe, because he'll just battle hunger you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to sit under a tower. That's the strength of the Mirana, especially with the boots first. You're just going to be able to right click and pressure Demono almost not entirely out of this lane, but they do decide to try lane bottom. It's a good call from SG blocking this large camp. At the same time, I can't feel like Costa Bila is going to have a great time if they do decide to just straight up try lane, and both off or safe laners might be a little bit sad if that is the case.
An arrow? Oh my gosh, they were here waiting. They got the battle hunger. You don't have Curse of Avernus for the additional slow, so Tomato will make it underneath the tier 2 tower here, but man, he's going to have to just go so far back in TP because Theolacor just staring at him. As a result, Dubu immediately TPs to the top lane. Another arrow comes out. Takes down that range creep.
Shoving.
Yeah.
Trying to push it into the waves that way. That creep does die to that tower as soon as possible. But again, we saw Dubu. We saw Yester with ET as well. You stay in the enemy lane. You get a free Astral Spirit, get the 56 damage, and you try to clip others on the way back. And this is just the strength of the Mirana. It will stabilize the lane a little bit. You're constantly able to get the XP from the range creep. But again, Dubu, he's just going to run at you. He's just going to try to make this lane as rough as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm such a big fan of the Shadowblade cosmetic on Kunkka. I think this might have been one of the first items in Dota that got a cosmetic replica, right? Like, this thing is so cool. It's one of the, it came out so long ago, and it was like easily the coolest item in the game for so long. But
when it's that and what, the Aghanim Scepter on Rubik, that was much less cool, but that is also in the game.
There's a lot of cosmetic replicas now, but yeah, that one was super cool for a long time. Well, there's the first courier. Ends up being Tavos, surprisingly.
It's just Dubu. You never really see it coming. He just one-shots you. There's nothing you can do about it either. He's just always a little bit faster than you, and it's the strength of this ET. It's so strong, especially versus the Axe. It makes you think what the sort of ideal was, but Tavo really was out of options. He couldn't pick his, almost patent-pending Chaos Knight this game versus the Troll Warlord, and looks like he will be able to get a little bit done here, but again, he's just getting clipped. Not the highest armored hero, even though he does have that ring.
He's taking so much damage from Dubu, and now Dilakor gonna have to just leap away too. It's one of those things where like this lane's just gonna be easy for Tomato. Like, he's farming pretty well. He's up to 9 and 2. It's not really on par with the Luna as far as the denies go, but I mean, still, you gotta be worried about this Troll Warlord going into the mid game. If you can't really snowball the bottom lane really hard on this Luna, I don't think you'll be able to keep up with the Troll.
Well, and that is the issue with this bot lane. It's just Saberlight will always be under pretty heavy pressure from KJ. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that Orb of Venom and the Curse of Avernus that we typically see, but in his own right, he's being annoying. He's allowing Kostabile basically to just farm. There's really no pressure that the Rubik can put either. It's one of the few heroes where Moonmander, he's playing the role of the Mirana. He's just getting range creeps, doing whatever he can, and there's not much he can do aside from that if he gets ran at. The Abaddon is just a little bit too strong.
Brawl looking really good in the mid lane now. He was struggling the first couple of levels, but now that you have Tidebringer level 2, you got a single point in Torrent X, you got your bottle, your bracer, 40R just getting cleaved constantly.
Ooh, nice little pick on the courier bottom.
Yeah, the loosened beam spam is very annoying. I played recently against a Luna Coddle. It was quite funny.
Oh, that seems even worse.
it was quite annoying.
Well, and we'll see what Kostabile decides to go for, because at this point, you usually save up your skill points in case you can get a kill with the Lucent Beam, but you really want to be getting points in Moonglaive, or at least gearing up for it, as you don't want to push in the wave necessarily, but big rotations for the 4 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bottom lane. It's being a regen for Thilakor, but immediately canceled, obviously. They were trying to hold the Bounty Rune top for 40R, but with Dubu just constantly chasing this Mirana around the map, they had to pick it up.
Well, and that's sort of the unfortunate case is Theolacor isn't really able to make those rotations. He's almost stuck babysitting Tavo, and once Tavo gets a few more levels, maybe you can start to get aggressive on Tomato, but he's got the Ring of Health queued up, and once he has that, I think he's just going to be able to regen past any kill threshold.
My God.
Oh,
it's just watching Dubu. He's just going it hard, but now with that battle hunger, he's got to be careful.
Oh.
Stomp leveled, will be able to put that axe to sleep. Getting some raindrops delivered as well, and quick whirling axes to slow them down. Dubu can hobble his way back to base.
The issue being, keeping this mid lane a 1v1, both supports could make so many plays happen if it was the case.
40R is going for this.
Yeah.
He's just going to go pressure the enemy bottle.
That should help. He just got level 6 on Bryle.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bryle, is he in range? He's just not in range. Level 1x.
The play was almost there. That was incredibly close.
It was.
But now bottom, Saberlight's just able to farm. He's just able to cut the creep waves with the boars, and once you hit level 5, that's when the Abaddon can't really zone you out anymore, because you have that level 3 boar, and while you are getting Lucent Beam spammed, it's similar to the Enigma matchup we saw last game, where you have to choose, are you going to get Saberlight low, or are you going to keep his boars low? And he's been very tactical whenever he casts his boars. He's really getting a lot out of the spot lane.
Here it is, the mid lane rotation. They're going to try and go for 40R. The X, the boat, pullback, the stomp there as well, putting a bat to sleep. He can't save him. Well, he does. Gets the Aphotic Shield off just in time, and now the arrow connecting onto Rubik Moon. Trying to run. Nice cookie forward into the Mortimer Kisses.
Nice.
They're turning it around. They get the first blood onto KJ, and now Dubu on the run as well. Those Mortimer Kisses doing a ton of work. This is punished heavily.
Well, 40 is not going to make it for this rune, unfortunately.
Yeah, nice deny by Moon. But I mean, that's the thing. If you blow every spell on, oh, he's gonna, is he gonna go for this? No, okay. He's just.
This is a little bit wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have 3 points in the scatter blast. I mean, that's like a 300 damage nuke onto the Rubik here, but he does have those raindrops, so kill threat.
And that is the strength of the mid snapfire, where you do need to be so careful. If you run out of your disables, you use one too many on him, and he's able to reset. And that's the, again, strength of the Abaddon. You're able to walk out of a lot of these stuns. And if he's able to get in a good spot, then the kisses, they still hurt. That's the one spell that really hasn't been changed too much on the hero. It's still a very scary eventuality in the team fights.
They nerfed the damage a few times when it first came out, but yeah, it was, and rightfully so. I mean, that spell was quite a lot of damage. But yeah, it's one of those things where if you let Snapfire go for a full duration Mortimer Kisses and she's able to connect on most of those, you're gonna kill someone. I mean, if you just play mid Snapfire and you want to go to a side lane to find a kill, you're gonna find it. Oh, and there's a jelly. You gotta love to see it. Luna will get the other, or not.
And when we see 40R, he's actually going for the greedier build, possibly. He might just be rushing an Blade, which is very strong, especially once you get to that point where you can really just insta-gib heroes with the Scatterblast Fire Snap cookie. But it's, again, it's greedy. It means that you're relying on Tavo for the initiation in these fights. And he's gone for the Vanguard build, and he has been able to get it. And with Tomato going for the Battle Fury build, no Javelin, it feels like it's going to actually work, where Tavo is actually not too scared of this troll now. He's sort of stabilized.
A little bit of a distraction play mid as they're keeping 40R busy, and Brow's just going to come bottom and look for Costabile. There's going to be the X to boat to follow. Moon Meander caught an arrow on the backside, but they get the kill onto the Luna, and a roar onto the Abaddon. A quick double kill here for Bryle. He's trying to get the courier, but it makes its way into the trees. One leap charge left. He's actually still going for the courier, and he's going to get it. Theocor, absolute mad lad.
Invisibility.
And that's just the slight mispositioning from KJ. He was trying to run over to try and save his Luna, but not even needing to use the roar. Just able to put a lot of pressure on this bottom tower as well. Theocor is still here. He's sort of arrowing creeps.
Yeah, I mean, they know. But the question is, can you do anything about it? Bryle scouted for a moment there behind the tower. They will get a sentry there. Did they get the ward, or did it expire? I think it expired. Oh, that feels so bad.
And now 40R, it feels like his time is just going to be wasted now. Yet he made the long trip to bottom. He didn't have TP before. He's trying to find something, but again, he gets clipped by that ward again. So there's just nothing he can do. There shouldn't be any rotation in which Saberblade dies here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going all the way back to the tower. Your only hope is for like a random arrow into Mortimer Kisses, but it's... With where Theocor is positioned, like it might have been possible, but it's just so unlikely.
And at the same time, Tavo, I believe he TP'd out of top lane, but he's farming up a Storm. He's the one here that's really able to make use of this Ancient farm up until Costabile can. And you see he did skill up 2 points in the Moonglaves, trying to get this this Mask of Madness as fast as possible, but still, it's a struggle boat. And now both the offlaner is going to have very successful times in their respective lanes, and I think you got to be a little bit scared. You're giving Tavo quite a lot of space, but at the same time, you're not losing your towers for it. This top tower has been, touched by 75 damage. There really hasn't been any big push out of either team yet.
Oh, Troll has Possessed Mask. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Bottom lane, the X boat. They find the Snapfire at KJ there to try and keep him alive, but he is just completely surrounded by Saberlight. KJ goes down as well, and that is just... Yeah, I mean, that's just the power of these heroes. Like we said, there's so much lockdown that Abaddon saves aren't as powerful here.
And you saw there, they had the good vision. They saw exactly what was going on, but very simply, you got one kiss off and you immediately got roared. And if you don't have this picture-perfect positioning on 40R, that's going to continue to happen. And Snapfire is one of those heroes that, while it does farm very fast, it's very slow to recover. And when you need to be making these plays on your map, you can't really afford to recover. You need to get this farm on Costabile so that way he can start showing up these fights eventually. But with the Vanguard from Tavo, there aren't really too many plays to be made. They're going to just start moving to this mid tower, and
Tomato's
KJ, he wants level 6.
Going for the TP out. No vision. Nice blink out. Mid lane, though. KJ, safe for a moment thanks to the cookie. He's got the boars coming in. The Earth Splitter immediately tossed. It's going to do some damage, but ends up all being absorbed there by the borrowed time. And with Tavo's rotation, they end up securing their first kill in actually quite a while.
If anything, it was a good bait from KJ. He was level 5. That's when I thought he would just get bursted down, but it looks like Moon Meander was slightly too far away. But baited it, got level 6 off of one ranged creep, immediately popped it, healed back to full. Abaddon's fun.
I'm really curious to see what they do to deal with Saberlight. I mean, we've seen so many games where Saberlight gets this Beastmaster, and they don't have an answer to it. He's just pushing bottom so heavily. Because they will TP in to try and clear some of these creeps, but the damage being done to the tower for sure.
When you do have these glaives, you are able to cleave it down, but that's what you need to be so scared of. Similar to the Gyro matchup. Ooh, if he gets caught up by the smoke,
yeah, he will indeed.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, nice catch here. Mortimer kisses just immediately Saberlight. He will go down. It is a 4-man rotation in top lane. They're making a rotation onto Tavo here. The X, the boat will connect. The question is, do they have all of the damage? He's so tanky with this Vanguard. And they're TPing in. They want to save him. The cookie to pull him back. Now, Telekinesis does double stun them up. There's going to be a stolen Scatter Blast. And now a Starstorm Moon styling on them. And he sets up another X to the torrent. A stomp to follow. 4DR got nowhere to go. Moon Meander. Absolutely disgusting.
What a beautiful... And immediately into his stack. Oh my goodness. Sealing the Starstorm.
Dude, he did 3,200 damage on the Rubik.
That's actually insane. And now, immediately, even though you lost Saberlight bottom, you got 3 kills in return. You punish the punish, and you're going to get the Spit Tower as well. This is just picture perfect, it feels like, from Undying.
I mean, if you are SG there and you trade 1 for 1, you know, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, we traded 1 for 1, but you end up trading 3 for 1. And it backfires pretty heavily as now Tavo in the mid lane in some trouble. Earth Splitter coming out. Arrow not going to connect onto Saberlight. He is falling low, and the Telekinesis is not going to save him. Throws Aurora onto the Luna. The mid tower, it gets denied by the Mirana. Well played there by Thelacor. But you do lose the tower at the end of the day.
Well, unfortunately, top lane, KJ was the one here that couldn't make the rotation. I think he was just a little bit too late, leading with the Snapfire Mirana. At the same time, you're consistently punishing Saberlight. If he dies one more time, we probably should see him hit the jungle, finish up that Necro 3, and then they're going to be able to de-ward a lot of this vision in the bottom jungle, but...
Oh my god, Moon with level 4 Lucent Beam. Oh no. The cast
It's just
range.
Such a monster Rubik game.
Oh,
There's so many spells
God.
that he wants. It's so powerful.
It's so good. I mean, just the amount of damage that he can deal on this Rubik. He is out of mana. That is his only limiting factor, but Dubu here with a nice stomp arrow will connect onto Kunkka. The question is, can they bring down Tavo with the help of KJ? And it doesn't seem like they have it. You need more damage out of this Kunkka, and honestly, this Sange is just not that.
When up until this point, we really have seen the Earth Splitter be the damage that puts it over the edge, but during all of this, Tomato, he's got a Battle Fury. He's been farming up this entire time. He hasn't been making the rotations that we've been seeing the Luna been able to make, but at the same time, he has the core matchup. If he's able to farm up, most likely we'll see him start to engage whenever he gets his BKB, as the Snapfire is still something you need to fear, but we're not seeing 4DR been able to make these rotations, and again, giving him Rubik's Spatter Blast. Moon just has so many spells that he can use in this game. It really feels like Rubik is the multi-tool to end it all.
Look at the range on Scatter Blast. Well, like,
oh my goodness.
I imagine that increases the inner circle, right, as well?
Yeah, it definitely increases the inner cone.
Point blank range is 450, so I imagine it's just 600 with Arcane Supremacy. I don't know. It's a bizarre situation here. They are smoked. They're gonna run right into Tavo.
Tavo?
They don't have detection. The dust comes out a little bit late.
Interesting. I thought for sure they had it with Moon there for a second, but a big rotation. It doesn't feel too bad either. We'll see if Tomato decides to greed out and sort of farm the enemy triangle at this point, but you see they're scattering on SG. As soon as that smoke whiffs, they know that they need to just try and get the map out as much as they can, but really, we're waiting for this Blink Dagger on Axe. Once we have that, then we'll probably see another smoke up from SG, as 4DR has to stand so far back. If he gets in vision of anyone, then it's over. He has to run. He doesn't get his Mortimer's Kisses off, and that's pretty much all of his damage at this point. Even though he does have the 440, he is feeling pretty powerful with the cookie. If the positioning on Undying, which has been good the entire game, continues to be good, it feels like, again, it's so hard for SG to execute a proper team fight.
Another smoke here coming out from Undying. I mean, they just want to put this roar to use. You got the level 3 Necros up for you know, another 25 seconds. And looks like they're pinging out the axe here on the high ground. They do have the Hawk to give vision, but mid lane, they're going to find ETDota instead, and the Roar comes out on the backside, finding the Snapfire, and the Earth Splitter is there. They don't even need it. Moon, once again, just doing so much damage with the stolen Scatter Blast.
And if he can get that spell every single time, that's exactly the one he wants. He's just going to continue to accelerate so fast, and once he gets the secondary Yules, it's just another break of the disable.
They might go for Kostabile here. Oh, that's an awkward pause. Yeah, I think we're both on the same page, right? He's about to get Spirit Stomped and bursted down by a Fade Bolt Scatter Blast, right?
Well, and we've got the Brow. He still has to turn and hit the Torrent, but is KJ close enough? He might be able to run over and save his Luna. It's a little bit of a reach, I think, from Undying this time around, but yeah, Mosquito Buzz indeed.
I mean, either way, they're gonna push Luna back to the base probably here.
And up until BKB, there isn't much that she can do, but at the same time, Tomato's getting it. And once Tomato has his BKB, it's going to be so terrifying to fight into this Troll Warlord. You just need to run. There's nothing you can do. And at that point, we need to see Tavo make an appearance. We need to see Tavo make these plays. As it feels like SG, they've been playing reactively for the past 5 minutes or so. They really haven't been able to be aggressive on the map in a while.
Yeah, looks like they aren't able to do it. No connection there. Stomp doesn't.
Moon?
Oh, wait a minute. Takes an arrow. They're going to be able to turn it around. Moon's got to run. They just commit the Eclipse. Why not? All right. Well played by ETDota.
Dying immediately after a pause is, especially to an arrow, feels a little unfortunate, but with Blink Dagger on top, they're going to push in mid.
Yeah, absolutely. Tavo's looking for a target.
Show up. They might just give it up, or in fact, I guess Brow will try to be as annoying as possible. Saberlight can make the TP.
The Blink Hole off the mark completely. The Stomp putting them to sleep, but immediately purged thanks to that Abaddon. You don't have Earth Splitter. Makes it kind of difficult. Arrow not going to connect. But you do protect the mid tower.
Showing force. Exactly. At the same time, Tomato, he didn't need to sweat at all. Again, he's just farming up while his team is doing all the heavy lifting, and it feels like that's just going to be the name of the game. If anything, Moon might get punished here, but they have this ward, it sees everything.
Well, there's a ward there now.
Yeah.
I guess there's not much duration left on it, but...
It's interesting, he got the level 1 Battle Hunger as well. Not the biggest steal that we've seen so far, but it's really this BKB timing that's going to make it or break it for SG.
40R bottom. Speaking of sweating, he's in so much trouble. Immediately pops the Ghost Scepter. He'll be fine for the time being. The Earth Splitter not going to connect either, and they force a couple TPs. Rubik on the high ground as well as ETDota. They get him with that arrow, that Spirit Vessel. Tavo rotating in as well. Should be able to pick him off with ease. Nice kill there from ETDota.
If anything, mid. Oh no, he mommed. They don't have X, thankfully. Otherwise, Kostabile would be in a lot of trouble.
Oh.
And again, it's just KJ. KJ is really the make or break player for his team right now. He's been saving everyone. He's been keeping the map very stable for them, but again, I can't stop looking away from Tomato, where he's just able to farm up while his team is making the plays, and it's the same with Saberlight. While he is falling behind a little bit, he's sort of encapsulated this bottom lane, and it's always something that SG need to respond to, and it's good that they got the mid tower off of that Duba kill, if anything, but they can really only ever push when the ET is encumbered, when he's not able to make those rotations, and the spot tower is taking a lot of damage from Saberlight, and there's not much they can do about it.
Yeah, not at all. Overall, things looking pretty good here for Undying. I mean, it's just, this troll has just been given so much space, right? Like,
when continuing to the point, once he has his BKB, then they can start looking at Roche. Then they can start looking to make these plays, and we're almost in lock right now where they want to finish their BKB on Luna before they make a play. If they're smoking right now, it still feels pretty risky for them to show up, and we might see a brawl on these 20-minute runes, but at the same time, Saberlight's claimed the bottom tier 2 tower. There aren't really any plays that SG are making right now because they want to wait for these items, and they do have the Blade on 40R. He does have that supplemental damage where he might be able to get a kill without committing the Mortimer's Kisses, but you're having to ignore this Beastmaster so much. Saberlight is just accelerating so fast, and Ryle having his BKB as well. This double BKB timing is going to inundate SG, at least for a lot of their damages. There's no Blade Mill and Axe. You don't have that burst combo. If they go on Ryle now, they should see the BKB.
Yeah, I mean, they get the
have
call.
to chain him.
The arrow misses.
No.
Oh, no. They're going to pull him back into the Torrent, potentially. Where's the follow-up, though? They're just kind of baiting it out, I suppose.
And just more time. More time for Tomato to do whatever he wants. It's just a failed play, and now Tomato wants to do something. Now that he has BKB, they could smoke up. They could try to force the Roshan.
They see
stick around
Costabile
the triangle. Oh no.
Costabile shows bottom for just a moment. The call mid lane. Tavo, he's just trying to clear the creep, just gets immediately caught by a roar. Oh my goodness,
no.
The burst damage, and now Thelacor trying to run for his life, but Moon with the chain stuns. He's got another Lucent Beam in a couple seconds. Plenty of cast range to help find the kill in the mid lane. KJ and 4DR on the run. In comes the Eclipse with a two-man torrent. He catches Costabile, forced to BKB. The stolen Eclipse from Moon.
Oh
this guy,
goodness.
he gets an ultra kill. You can't stop the Moon Rubik.
And if anything, it's the power of the Beastmaster. You just had the Boars up on a 40R the entire time. He was a little bit too far out. If anything, they should have just cut Tavo and ran after he was just stuck by all of those Necro creeps. And instead, you're losing everything. That was your 10-second on Costabile. He actually managed to farm it before that fight broke out. And now, you're just in Roche. You're just going to be able to get this Aegis in unless they respond incredibly quickly. There's just nothing. No, there's
no way. Now that the Necro units are here, the Boars are here, this is going to fall too dang fast. And Tomato's going to pick himself up an Aegis. Now a 5k gold lead for Undying.
And they scanned out. Brow didn't even need to use his BKB during any of that. He was so unafraid. He didn't even have boat. He was just consistently running in, and he's the wall that, if anything, SG need to bound over, but
oh my gosh, Moon.
Again, it's so
he
hard.
Gets caught. Call on the backside does find Kunkka as well. Mortimer kisses. What does he steal? He gets the Lucent Beam. They don't have the damage, though. Bryle still alive. Pops the BKB. The X, the Torrent coming out, holding them in place. They will find the first kill onto Tomato. Now KJ in an awkward spot. Doesn't really know where to go. Trying to stay close to his Luna and keep her alive, but Tavo on the backside does have Blink Call once again. They're trying to just zone this fight out and make their way back to the base, but in comes Moon. Once again, a Yules to stop that borrowed time, and now Abaddon. He's going to go down as Tomato just chews right through that health bar.
And they just don't have the damage. Again, you saw 40R, even with the kisses down, he just wasn't able to place them on the right heroes. It's just so hard for them to get a good fight going for him, and I feel like up until Tavo is able to get a Blade Mail or something, he's going for the Yules now, but it just feels like they don't have enough damage to kill anyone on Undying. Even though they don't have the best save, they're just consistently able to kite around the heroes of SG.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't. That's the thing. Like, they really don't have the damage. That's exactly what they're lacking. And with this last pick, Kunkka, I mean, it's so evident because if you decide to jump the Kunkka, you know, so what? You still have Beastmaster Troll. You got an Earth Splitter. You got so much CC from these other heroes that it doesn't really seem to matter.
And we haven't even seen it play in these past few fights, but Dubu, he's the silent backline where if you're able to just sit there with the Astral Spirit out.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah, I thought Bryle X'd the Luna. It turns out he was X'ing himself and just having a good old time in the mid lane.
Step lively now. Your
And see, they need to punish, if anyone, it's got to be Dubu, where right now, Undying, they're just playing in all three lanes. They're able to push in everything at very little risk to themselves, and it feels like this is the timing. They're going up high ground. They don't care.
You got Aegis, you got BKB. Also, someone needs to report Moon. He's out here whipping these boards. Nice blink call from Tavo, but immediately Yules up into the air. They get the first life, but at what cost? The boat to follow. Your axe is dead. You steal Moonlight Shadow here. Not too great of a steal, but you'll take it. And now your base, it's just crumbling. The E-Blade on the Troll, just trying to slow them down, but you still got a Beastmaster here. Tomato will take the range, now focusing on that melee barracks, and he's going to get it with ease.
It highlights the importance of Tavo and everything in this game, where when he's gone,
they've
there's
caught
nothing they
He's
can
going to
do.
have to BKB
he's
this,
not
the
gonna
nice
BKB?
save. Okay, KJ there. He trusts his teammates.
It's so scary, though. You'd have to be terrified right now. Just walking up to the wave as you need to get so close to get any right-click damage in, and at this point, Costabile, he doesn't have any damage.
I mean, They're doing a decent chunk of damage here. Troll still protected by BKB, also has that battle trance, so I don't think he's too worried. They will just accept the top lane of barracks, as well as that mid tier 3, back off, claim these bounty runes, grab themselves a power rune. Like, this is perfect. The X back can allow the troll to go all the way back to base, heal up. They do,
and now
oh, they didn't even smoke. They just walked out. Did this ward see them?
Walked out.
It did.
Oh, and they need to be so careful. If any hot catches wind them,
Brawl
they can't
just
start on
baiting.
Brawl.
He's just baiting.
They can't do it.
They're just looking for the stomp here. Who do they go on? They got so much vision thanks to this Hawk, and they're going to catch Costa Bile. Able to... Oh, they put the Abaddon Sleepy Ass to BKB immediately, and now Axe just getting tunneled. The Aurora immediately comes out, and KJ cannot save him. You lose 2 immediately. Torrent going to find KJ as well. Moon with the CC constantly there. 40R able to just TP out, but you're going to lose 3.
Oh my goodness. And they died a little bit too close to the base. Tomato, he's pinging it out. He has a cart. There's no tower. They've got Glyph in 15, and it feels like it's going to be too late.
I mean, if
and
you
they
buy
just
back
understand
the
Abaddon so well. Oh, you can't. You have to wait.
Yeah, I mean, your economy is completely over if you buy back Luna here, right? I don't know what you can do. Mortimer kisses to clear the waves. They do get an arrow onto Moon. He almost falls down here, but just barely surviving as the Mortimer kisses do expire. And that mid lane of Barracks is dead.
And now you do have Glyph for this last tower, but at the same time, it might just force Undying to back, but you're not gaining anything of it. They're going to respect it, and it feels like SG just aren't able to find anything. When they only have to play around one hero's initiation, I mean, Brow's on T4s, but...
Brow's BKBs and walks out. I mean, this could be a bait, honestly. You don't have Roar, but... they might go ahead and try and turn it around. That's exactly what they're doing. The taunt does at least catch him. He will pull back Tavo now, protected by an E-Blade, but Tomato is here. Sleeped on the Mirana, and she's just going to get chewed apart. There's nothing you can do. There's going to be a nice blink call. The Eclipse, but he just gets melted. Oh my goodness. Where did his health go?
Oh no, and he instantly dies. Double BKB's pop.
Yeah.
This is over.
That's got to be it. Battle Trance comes out, and they just chew right through them. An absolute incredible game here from Undying as they close it out 2-0 here.
And just, they understand, if anything, so well how to draft versus these teams, especially when they can force out these picks. And they just understand, they play with the Abaddon solo, they know exactly how to play versus the Abaddon. And we felt it for the first time in that fight where Dubu, he gets the sleep off. The Luna has to be so close. It was just a perfect counter pick. There's nothing they could have done play-wise to really affect that, where KJ has to be so close in these fights. And if he ever missteps, the position just wasn't there from SG. They weren't able to get anything going for them. And you see, if anything, the stat lines, they say it all. Tavo, 40R, they weren't able to make those counter plays. They had these heroes that they needed to be incredibly active on to find anything going for them. And the BKBs, as soon as the BKBs were up on 3 heroes, it really felt like SG, they just didn't have the damage to get any fight going their way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the funny is, I'm looking at the endgame screen here. Highest damage in the game is Moon Meander on this Rubik. He did so much heavy lifting, finishing the game at 8-2 and 7. And like we said early on in the draft, like, this was a first phase Rubik, but there was so many good spells that he could get off of almost every hero. And yeah, I mean, he just excelled. The double kill top lane with the stolen Mortimer, or I'm sorry, with the stolen Scatterblast, and then the ultra kill in the mid lane where you have Scatterblast into Luna's Eclipse. Like, he just absolutely crushed this game on this Rubik. I'm definitely my MVP for sure, but and super dominant showing here from Undying in the first series of the day, and it's the reason that I think a lot of people consider them to be the favorites of this tournament.
Definitely. And if Moon's going to continue to play like this, then I'm going to continue to watch Undying games. He just worked them. There's no two ways around it. And first pick, not just a first phase, first pick Rubik. He wasn't countering anything. If anything, he was countering the Abaddon. And I don't think he stole Photic Shield once because he didn't need to. He had so many other good steals. 20k damage. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just our first series here today. We have another one coming up in just a moment, and another highly anticipated series. It's 4 Zoomers versus No Ping Esports. Now, these teams, the other 2 upper bracket contenders here, the winner will move on to play Undying in the upper bracket finals, and the loser will fall to the lower bracket to play the cut, if I'm not mistaken. So, big game on the line here for both of these teams, but we'll be back after just a short break, everyone. So stay tuned for our second series of the day. and that will be again for Zoomers versus No Ping Esports.